Well, let's bring in our military analyst, Sean Bell. Sean, the conflict's still showing no signs of slowing down at all. More now potential disruption to different shipping routes. This is the Houthis, and they're talking about attacking Saudi ships. Just explain to us a little bit why, about the geography and what they're hoping to achieve here. Yeah,
good afternoon, Jane. I mean, it does feel we're 140 plus days into this, week 21 of President Trump's 4 to 6 week war. And ever since the 17th of June, when we expected this peace to break out, it's actually now seems to be spiralling out of control. As you say, the latest is Iran has a number of proxies that operate in the region. We talked about Hamas and Hezbollah. The Houthis are the latest ones. They've actually now threatening shipping going through the Bab al-Mandab Straits for Saudi Arabia. Now, it's not the first time that the Houthis have threatened shipping through there. If you recall, back in 2023, it was when the height of the Israel-Hamas conflict. And in the past, when it's been closed, actually, commercial shipping, they generally use this route to get to the Far East because it saves them a bit of time. But it's a bit inconvenient, but they have to go the long way around the Horn of Africa to get to their destination. The challenge, of course, that is about 4,000 nautical miles further. It's an extra 2 weeks, and therefore you take ships that take longer. There's fewer ships available to load up, and of course you increase costs. But apart from that, it's just largely an inconvenience. So why have the Houthis targeted specifically Saudi Arabia this time? Well, back in the 1980s, Saudi recognised it was very dependent on the Strait of Hormuz for the export of its oil. So it built a 1,200-kilometre pipeline all the way across Saudi Arabia, across to the Red Sea, where it has a port there, the Yanbu port, offloads its oil there, so it bypasses the strait altogether. The challenge is those ships that they offload it into are huge. They're very large cargo vessels that have 200,000 tonnes of oil. Why is that important? It's important because the draft of those ships is deeper than you can go through the Suez Canal.
Which is, of course, up at the top of the Red Sea. Up at the top
of the Red Sea. Therefore, you're forced, once again, you've got to go out the bottom. And therefore, what actually Iran's doing here is they had claimed they were attacking US facilities, military facilities around the region. Now, this has got nothing to do with the US military. This is all about attacking global energy supplies because it knows that actually that's a vulnerability for President Trump. And as we were coming on air, I noted that the oil price has now gone over $100 a barrel. It's having an impact.
Meanwhile, President Trump says further threats, this time about re-avenging the loss of American lives. He and Rubio, we just heard from, also making clear that they're threatening to strike civilian infrastructure. Just explain what he said.
Yeah, part of this, two big threats, one of which is America's struggling to stop Iran targeting commercial vessels in the southern part of the Strait of Hormuz. So they've said that if you continue to attack them, we're going to now start attacking bridges and power plants. That's fine, except it's very difficult to see how they are military targets. And if they're not military targets, you're suddenly into the law of armed conflict, very, very dangerous. The bigger concern for me, though, is that the whole element of US military casualties is now very much in the topic. President Trump has claimed on social media that he's trying to compare the wars in Vietnam being much bigger, much more costly than Iran, trying to show that Iran is relatively small. But the fact remains, he's also blaming Iran for the casualties. We're seeing some footage here when they've repatriated the most recent of the 3 Americans who've recently died, and therefore he's venging, sort of almost revenge, to avenge them by taking the fight to Iran. The problem with that argument is the US have lost 18 servicemen so far, and over 500 have been injured. But it is worth remembering, the US started the war. US serving personnel will serve their country, serve their president, they will take risks, but ultimately they pay the ultimate sacrifice. Iran, by contrast, is defending itself. They claim they've lost 3,500 people since the start of the war. A good proportion of those will be civilians, including 120 children at the Minab facility. And also, ever since the 17th of June, the ceasefire, they claim that they've lost 50 people that have been killed and over 500 have been injured. The point being is that if President Trump's justifying an increase in hostilities to justify the loss to avenge the lives of 3 US service personnel, you're effectively providing a green light to Iran to escalate significantly the war, potentially beyond its current geographic boundaries. I think the takeaway for me is that President Trump probably expected a short and decisive war, but any war has unintended consequences. And the grave challenge at the moment, I suspect, is that military action is not going to deliver any peace anytime soon. It will delay the negotiations and it will result in the loss of more lives, not all of them military.
Sean, thank you very much.